Made it through the end, to the end,
we out
Abdul.
here. We ready. We coming through New York Bar. We gonna take it down. July 30th and 31st. All 400s out here for.
What's good, fam? How y'all doing today? Just me and my water today. Someone got me this glass. Big up yourself. I love it. Today, I'm going to reflect upon my bar prep journey. This is not something I've done yet. I haven't really sat here and reflected on what it was like to study for the bar. I haven't journaled about it, anything like that. So all of the feelings that I'll be relaying to you guys are actually going to be things that I have, or are going to be things that I'm thinking about right now for the first time. I guess one thing I can say is that I have hindsight bias, obviously, because I, unlike Angel, didn't do my bar prep journey live. I thought it was super cool that Angel recorded her journey, and my stepbrother said I was a punk for not doing it, but I was genuinely scared. For me, it wasn't even until the end, maybe 2 weeks before the bar exam, that I even felt confident enough to say, well, I'm gonna pass this exam. Like, to say those words out my mouth. And there were tons of times that I was studying for the test and I was like, oh, I'm gonna fail. I know I'm gonna fail. There were already so many external pressures where family members would say, oh, I know you're gonna pass, or friends, oh, this is just like another step to solidifying it. This is just paperwork. This is just making it official. And I knew people who failed that test, people who are extremely smart who failed that exam. I didn't want to deal with people saying things like that in YouTube comments and having to deal with it. Even though we did do the mukbang was less so about my journey and more so just delivering information about the exam, so it kind of didn't really affect me in the way in which I thought that sharing my journey throughout the process would. However, I did miss making videos. Hearing yourself say something over and over again is a form, or is a technique. I kind of took my yearning to make videos and my need to study and my need to memorize things for the bar exam and put them together, and I started making videos of myself repeating the law over and over and over and over and over. You get the point. So look, for example, we have the first one, abstention. Federal cannot enjoin pending state court proceedings. And then we have standing, the standing requirements. Pickled donuts cause reflux, which means personal and direct injury. Cause I recorded those videos, I had them on my phone, I would listen to them when I had free time. Where did I live during this time? Studying for the bar exam, you honestly need your own space. You need to be on your own time, basically. So I didn't want to have to maneuver on other people's schedules, even bothering people, telling them they're being too loud. I think that's rude. Like, you can't expect others to appease you for 2 months straight. They have a life too, like they have work, they have to decompress, they have other things they want to think about besides the fact that you're studying for the bar exam, things like that. So I didn't want to live at home. I didn't want to live too far from the law school once I decided that I wanted to do an in-person live class. So I decided to sublet. Ignore the mess. It's been a rough few weeks, but I never really study here. At least I don't use this side of the desk. Got like some secure transaction stuff over here, Barbie books, etc. I'm usually studying down here, so I legit sit on the floor and just use the space as a desk. Because overall, I just like to be as uncomfortable as possible, because after taking the practice MBE, I feel like it's so uncomfortable to sit for 6 hours. But when it gets really late, I'll study from here as a standing desk, some note cards, whatever. So that is how I study whenever I'm studying in the apartment. Just did a common law problem set. There was just so much writing on that exam. Further clarity, further understanding, let's break it down into quarters. Let's say the first 2.5 weeks is the first quarter. The second 2.5 weeks is the second quarter. The third 2.5 weeks, let's call it the third quarter. And then, you know, the last 2.5 weeks, let's say that is game time, is after this quarter. For the first 2.5 quarters, I did exactly what my bar review course told me to do. I showed up for the lectures. I reviewed the lectures. It was on the day-by-day schedule that they gave us. I was answering all the questions they told us to answer. I wasn't worried about memorization because they told us not to worry about memorization. Yeah. First and second quarter is over. It is now around, what, 4th of July. Part of what made me feel like I was really in it to win it was if I actually tried to replicate real test conditions. So Barbary gave us a practice test at the Armory. I went to the Armory, saw a bunch of people, gang, we was chilling at the Armory, whatever. 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon, just like the bar exam. So to really make it feel as if we were taking the bar exam, the day before, a couple of friends and I did actual practice MPTs and MEEs. So I was exhausted taking it, but like I said, in real life, that's how I would have felt during the bar exam. So I was like, okay, cool. According to Barbary's grading scale, I would have passed. Saying you would have passed was not good enough for me. I needed to have a cushion so that I knew that if I started freaking out when I took the actual bar exam, I still would have done well enough on the exam. You know what I'm saying? People always say, oh, 4th of July is when I really start to buckle down. I wasn't even really studying before 4th of July, X, Y, and Z. Yeah, that wasn't me. I was studying before 4th of July, but after taking that practice exam, I did start to study even longer. I was staying up later. I was even more stressed, things like that. And I also felt like I needed to refocus. It's been 5 weeks. I'm tired of being at this law school. I am exhausted. I need help. I need a team. So one thing I did, I was talking to someone at the time, and he was super helpful in making me feel less lonely, but also providing like support. He was also studying because he's a med student. So what he would do is FaceTime me when he got in, and we would study together. I would keep him on FaceTime on my laptop while I was literally like with the Barbary book or with my lecture and my headphones in and all these things, and we just studied like that. We studied like that for hours, literally. So that was super helpful. Like, I feel like I'll be forever grateful to him for that. Angel was super helpful too when it came to providing that kind of support. Like, we would be on FaceTime for hours. After the first day of the bar, we were on FaceTime for hours and hours. And she had the bar next day, I had the bar the next day, but I didn't want to study, so I was like F it, like I'm not studying tonight. I also decided that I needed to change the scenery. I started studying at Fordham. I guess insert this, y'all can see this clip. Look at this clip right here from Fordham Law School. This is the day before the exam. I made it through the end, to the end, Abdul.
We ready. We coming through New York Bar. We gonna take it down. July 30th and 31st. All 400s out here for the team.
You sound like a club promoter.
You already know.
We lit. Bar exam lit. Mish, last words?
What's up, boo? Good luck. Forge forward. You can do it. Oh,
We're really
about to be
done.
Where the rest of the firm at? Dre, where you at?
Dre never want to be around. He always want to study by himself.
You ain't really serious? You ain't about that firm life?
Yeah, it's the last day. Everyone has left the room momentarily, but we are basically just went over some essays to get the stat. It's crazy. They just released the California bar exam essays because I guess someone leaked the topics to some professors and the professors knew, so now everyone has to know. So that's wild. California people know exactly what's going to be on their bar exam. It's the last day. We made it through. I feel ready. Team feels ready. About to head out, and that's that. I started studying at Fordham with the group that I started with. So it was like, I was trying to finish this with who I started with. I made new friends, but most of all, I found so much comfort in studying all day, because we didn't stay up, and studying all day with the people I started this with. So the people whom I studied with at Fordham were the same people who I did the program with, the New York Leo program, prior to starting law school. Barbary's live lecture was at Fordham. So if you wanted to, you can go down to Fordham and do the live lecture. So the car let me in the building, and I would study with them, as you saw in the Bolsa office. It was a whole different vibe at Fordham, right? Like, everyone was grinding, but also we had fun. We made it fun. We did flashcards. We made it a game. Like, we ordered food together, we walk out, we talk, we decompress, we talked about what was going on in each other's lives. Like, we were really just catching up, and it was great. And we all were using the same materials, so that was helpful. Like, they all were taking Barbary, and also they all were using PMBR. So quarter 3, like I said, I'm studying at Fordham now every day. 10 days, 9 days. We're officially 9 days away from the test. We are officially 9 days away from the test, and I feel like I am gearing up for war. I'm running through my last bit. I have all of the MEE topics down, like literally the actual language, so that when I see it on test, I can know the trigger words. This is a rough process, I will say. See y'all in a week. To the beginning of quarter 4, I began really tailoring everything to what I needed. 70% of the day on what I need to focus on for me, and 30% of the day on worrying about meeting Barbary's 100% calculation thing. I think in the end I got to 94%, and clearly I passed. I am just getting in from Fordham. We are technically 4 days away from the test, and I'm finally starting to feel confident, so I decided to quickly sit down and do this video in case I decide to make a video after the fact, kind of talking about my experience. For the most part, I tried to refrain from talking negatively about how I'm going to do in the exam, but today I really started to feel like I'm going to do well. I don't know, even when I did really well in the MBEs, or I bodied a MEE or MPT, I never felt like, oh my god, I did well on that, so I'm going to do well. I kept feeling a little doubtful, but today I feel like I finally hit that point where I'm like, I'm gonna pass this test. I've been at Fordham all day. I got there like 9 o'clock, and right now it is 6:35. Just got in, and I probably will hit the gym really quickly and then do some more studying. That's basically my entire day these days. So yeah, that's my update, I guess. Test is in 4 days, people. 4 days. And then towards the end, we started to kind of do our own predictions on what we thought was going to be on the test. Megan, Priscilla, and I were tossing questions at each other, literally, like, oh, you know this? Oh, what's that? Oh, I saw it for the first time. Blah, blah, blah. I also started making a bunch of flashcards. I don't know why, but I felt like that was comforting for me, because I felt like I was really getting the memorization down. So I was someone who didn't buy the critical pass flashcards for multiple reasons. One of them was that before I started the test, before I started studying for the test, I said to myself I wasn't going to buy anything extra. And it wasn't because I was being cheap or anything, or like felt like it wasn't a good investment. I don't want to have conflicting advice, if that makes sense. So I don't want things to conflict, and then I was trying to figure out, well, is this true, is this not true, things like that. In addition, I feel like when I make flashcards, that's a part of the process of learning for me. So I didn't want to have flashcards with the answers already on them. I wanted to make a bunch of flashcards for myself so I could remember exactly what I was writing down. And I feel like it was super helpful in remembering the law for me. I guess I was quarters 1, 2, and 3, 4. And then on the actual bar exam day, I was a lot less stressed than I thought I was gonna be. It is day 2. Just got to the gym. Still see my ticket. I'm about to do a mileage so on this thing. I'm not gonna go this slow, just because I'm recording. And then head to this exam. Woo, almost over with. That was my bar prep journey. Deep breath, shawty. Feel my hand? Yeah. Alright, involving it.
Oh, she's letting have it.
Oh my god! I'm about to call Marvin.
You was ready. You killed it.
If you have any questions, feel free to ask below. Any specific questions to how I studied, where I studied, when I studied. I thought I covered all of it, but if I didn't, feel free to ask. And as always, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, and share. and watch out for more videos, people.
You know, it's always the flow.
For that West Side Highway.
It's always the dough.
Light up. Got your vibe.
But it's always a nigga up.
With a vibe. You know.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Uh-huh.